Hi, hello friends, welcome back to our channel, the 5 Minute Revision. Imagine the person you love the most suddenly dies. You refuse to believe it. You carry them in your arms and run from one house to another, begging everyone for a medicine that can bring them back to life. Sounds impossible, right? But this is exactly what happened to a woman named Kisa Gautami. Now imagine someone tells her, "Yes, I can help you, but first bring me a handful of mustard seeds from a house where nobody has ever died." Do you think she will find such a house? And why would the great Gautama Buddha ask for something so strange? Today's chapter is not just a story, it is one of the most powerful life lessons ever taught about death. And trust me, by the end of this video, you will not only understand the complete chapter, but you'll also remember every important exam point without mugging it up. So let's begin the chapter. Hello everyone, welcome back to the 5 Minute Revision. If you are preparing for your class 10th exam, you are at the right place. Today, we will learn the sermon at Benares in the simplest way possible. This chapter is very important because CBSE frequently asks questions like Gautami, Buddha's teachings, theme, moral, important lines from the sermon. So watch till the end because we'll also revise everything in 1 minute. Now, before understanding the story, let's first understand who Gautama Buddha really was. Many students think Buddha was born as a saint, but that's not true. He was actually born as a Prince Siddhartha Gautama around 563 BC in northern India. He lived inside a beautiful royal palace. Everything he wanted, he got luxury, servants, beautiful gardens, expensive clothes, the best food. In short, he had a dream life, but there was one thing his parents never allowed him to see the real world. They wanted Siddhartha to become a great king, so they protected him from every kind of suffering. He never saw sickness, old age, or even death. Imagine living your whole life thinking everyone is always happy. That was Siddhartha's life. Until one day, everything changed. One day, Siddhartha stepped outside the palace, and for the first time, he saw reality. The first person he saw was a sick man. The man looked weak. He was suffering terribly. Siddhartha was shocked. He asked, "Can anyone become sick?" The answer was yes. Then he saw an old man. His body had become weak. He could not walk properly. Again, Siddhartha asked, "Will everyone become old one day?" Yes, everyone. Then came the third sight, a funeral procession. People were carrying a dead body. Family members were crying. Siddhartha could not believe what he was seeing. Does every human being die? Again, the answer was yes. Finally, he saw a monk. The monk had almost nothing, no palace, no wealth, no expensive clothes. Yet, he looked peaceful, calm, happy. This confused Siddhartha. How can someone with nothing be happier than people who have everything? That single question changed his entire life. After seeing the suffering in the world, Siddhartha could not live peacefully inside the palace anymore. He kept asking himself, if everyone becomes sick, if everyone grows old, if everyone dies, then what is the real purpose of life? These questions disturbed him day and night. Finally, he made one of the biggest decisions of his life. He left behind his kingdom, his luxurious palace, his wife, his little son, and every comfort he had ever known, not because he did not love them, but because he wanted to discover the truth about human suffering. And that journey would soon transform Prince Siddhartha into Gautam Buddha, one of the greatest spiritual teachers in history. So, Prince Siddhartha had now left behind his luxurious life, but leaving the palace was only the beginning of his journey. For the next 7 years, he traveled from one place to another in search of the true meaning of life. He met great teachers, practiced meditation, and lived a simple life, yet he still could not find the answers he was looking for. Finally, one day, he sat under a tree and made a firm decision. I will not leave this place until I discover the truth about life. Imagine that determination, no distraction, no comfort, no shortcuts, just one goal to understand why human beings suffer. After meditating continuously for 7 days, Siddhartha finally attained enlightenment. From that day onwards, people no longer called him Prince Siddhartha. They called him Buddha, which means the enlightened one or the awakened one. The peepal tree under which he attained enlightenment later became famous as the Bodhi tree, which means the tree of wisdom. After attaining enlightenment, Buddha did not keep his wisdom to himself. Instead, he decided to teach people how to overcome suffering and live peaceful life. His first sermon was delivered at Benares, which is now called Varanasi. Benares was considered one of the holiest cities in India. Thousands of people visited the city to offer prayers and seek spiritual guidance. It was here that Buddha delivered one of his most important teachings, a teaching that has remained relevant for more than 2500 years. Today's chapter is based on that very sermon. Now let's meet the central character of this chapter. Her name was Kissa Gautami. She was an ordinary woman who had only one son. That little boy was her entire world. Every dream she had, every hope, every happiness was connected to him. But one unfortunate day, tragedy struck. Her only son suddenly died. Imagine the pain of a mother who loves her only child. Kissa Gautami could not believe what had happened. She refused to accept that her son was dead. Holding his lifeless body in her arms, she ran from one house to another, asking everyone for medicine that could bring her child back to life. She believed that somewhere someone would surely have a cure. But the villagers knew the truth. No medicine in the world could bring a dead person back to life. Many people felt sorry for her. Some even whispered, "She has lost her senses because of grief." But Kissa Gautami wasn't mad. She was simple, a mother whose heart refused to accept reality. As Gautami continued searching, she met a kind man. Instead of laughing at her or sending her away, he spoke with her. "My daughter, I cannot give you that medicine you are looking for, but I know someone who may be able to help you." The moment Kissa Gautami heard these words, hope returned to her face. She immediately asked, "Who is that person?" The man replied, "Go to Gautam Buddha." Without wasting even a single moment, Gautami picked up her child and hurried towards Buddha. Deep inside her heart, she believed that this great teacher possessed a miracle that no one else did. She was desperate, she was hopeful, and she was ready to do anything to save her son. When Gautami reached Buddha, she fell at his feet and cried, "Lord, please give me the medicine that will cure my son." Buddha looked at her with great compassion. He understood her pain. Instead of directly telling her that her son could not be brought back to life, Buddha chose a different way to teach her. He calmly said, "Bring me a handful of mustard seeds." Gautami became overjoyed. She thought the medicine had finally been found. But before she could leave, Buddha added one important condition. The mustard seeds must come from a house where no parent, no child, no husband, no wife, no relative, and no friend has ever died. Gautami immediately left in search of such a house. She had no idea that this simple task was about to change her life forever. So, if you are enjoying this explanation and finding it easy to understand, don't forget to subscribe to the 5-minute revision. It motivates us to keep creating simple, exam oriented videos that help you score better in your board exams. So, now let's continue the story. With great excitement, Gautami rushed to the nearest house. She knocked on the door and politely said, "Please, can you give me a handful of mustard seeds?" The family happily agreed. Mustard seeds were commonly available in every household. As they bought the mustard seeds, Gautami remembered Buddha's condition. She asked, "Has anyone in your family ever died? A father, a mother, a husband, a wife, a son, a daughter, or even a close friend?" The family became silent. After a few moments, they replied, "Yes, we lost my grandfather a few years ago." Gautami quietly returned the mustard seeds. She thanked them and walked to the next house. She believed she would surely find another house where no one had experienced death. She went to another house. Again, the family was ready to give her mustard seeds. Again, she asked the same question, "Has anyone in your family ever died?" This time, the woman of the house lowered her head and replied, "My husband passed away last year." Gautami asked sorry and walked away. She visited another house. There, an old man said, "We lost our daughter when she was very young." At another house, someone had lost a brother. At another, someone had lost a mother. Everywhere she went, the answer was the same. Every family had experienced death. Not a single house was free from sorrow. Slowly, the hope that she had carried with her began to fade. As the day passed, Gautami became tired. She sat beside the road, watching the lamps being lit in the city. One by one, the lamps began to glow. After some time, one by one, they also went out. She silently watched this beautiful sight. Suddenly, something changed inside her. She realized that human life is just like those lamps. A person is born, they shine for some time, and one day their light also goes out. She understood that death is not something that happens only to one person or one family. It is a truth that every human being must face. For the first time, she stopped thinking only about her own sorrow. She realized that countless people around her had suffered the same pain. Gautami now looked at the world differently. Until now, she believed that only she had suffered such a terrible loss. But after visiting every house, she realized something very important. Every family has its own story. Every family has experienced pain. Every family has lost someone they loved. Death makes no difference between the rich and the poor, between kings and ordinary people, between children and old people. It comes to everyone. At that moment, Gautami thought to herself, "How selfish I have been in my grief." She realized that she had been thinking only about her own suffering while ignoring the pain of everyone else. This was exactly the lesson Buddha wanted her to learn. Kissa Gautami slowly returned to Buddha. This time, she wasn't carrying hope of bringing her son back to life. Instead, she carried something which more valuable. Understanding, wisdom, acceptance. She bowed before Buddha without saying many words. She had already understood his lesson. There was no need for Buddha to explain anything further. The mustard seeds were never important. The real medicine was the truth that Gautami had discovered herself, and now Buddha was ready to explain one of the greatest truths of human life through his sermon. Now that Gautami had understood the reality of life, Buddha began explaining why death is unavoidable and why grieving endlessly only increases our suffering. This powerful sermon forms the heart of the chapter, and we'll understand it line by line in the next part. Now, Gautami has now understood the truth about life. Only then did Buddha begin his sermon. He said, "The life of every human being is short, full of difficulties, and filled with pain." At first, these words may sound negative, but Buddha was not trying to make people sad. He was simply explaining reality. He wanted people to understand that no one can escape old age or death, whether someone is rich or poor, young or old, wise or foolish. Every living being must one day leave this world. Just as ripe fruits eventually fall from a tree, every human being must also face death one day. This is the natural law of life. Buddha continued, when a person dies, no father can save his son, no mother can stop death, no relative has the power to prevent it. He explained that crying endlessly cannot change reality. Instead, it only increases our own suffering. Think about it. If someone we love passes away, remembering them is natural. Feeling sad is natural. But if we refuse to accept reality, we only make ourselves weaker. Buddha wasn't asking people not to love. He was asking them to accept the truth of life with wisdom and courage. That is the real meaning of his teaching. So, what is the biggest lesson of this chapter? The answer is very simple. Death is universal. It is not limited to one family. Every person experiences loss at some point in life. The sooner we accept this truth, the sooner we find peace. This is exactly what happened to Gautami. She came to Buddha searching for medicine, but she left with something much greater: wisdom, acceptance, inner peace, and that became the real cure for her sorrow. A simple memory trick. Remember the chapter in just one sentence. Mustard seeds did not cure the child. They cured Kissa Gautami's misunderstanding about life and death. If you remember this line, you'll never forget the chapter. Now, let's quickly revise the most important points for your exam theme. The chapter teaches us that death is unavoidable, grief is natural, acceptance brings peace, wisdom helps us overcome sorrow. Moral: instead of trying to escape the truth of life, we should accept it with courage and understanding. This is the path of inner peace. Let's revise the entire chapter in just 1 minute. Siddhartha Gautama was born as a prince. After seeing sickness, old age, death, and a monk, he left his palace in search of truth. After 7 years of meditation, he attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree and became Gautama Buddha. Buddha delivered his first sermon at Benares. Kissa Gautami lost her only son and searched for medicine to bring him back to life. Buddha asked her to bring mustard seeds from a house where no one had ever died. She visited many houses but discovered that every family had experienced death. She realized that death is a universal truth. Buddha thought that excessive grief cannot change reality, but acceptance brings peace. That's the complete story of the sermon at Benares. If you understood this chapter completely, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the 5-minute revision. We were creating simple exam oriented explanations for every class 10 chapter to help you score your best in the board exams. Also, don't forget to download the free PDF notes from the link in the description. They will help you revise this entire chapter in just a few minutes before you enter your exam. Thank you so much for watching. All the very best for your CBSE board exams. I'll see you in the next revision video. Until then, keep learning, keep revising, and keep believing in yourself. Thank you.